Hi, can you tell me who you are?
My name is Britta Wenzel, and I'm the Executive Director of Save Barnegat Bay.
Britta, you testified today before the joint legislative committees, the environmental committees in New Jersey. We're in Lavallette, New Jersey today. There were a number of topics you hit, actually, but the one that probably stole the show in terms of news, breaking news, is something that happened just in the last week with storm sewer. I'm sorry. Let me allow you to describe what the problem is.
Sure.
Okay. And maybe you could show us the picture first of all, which
Sure.
really.
Let me show you the picture.
A picture's worth 1,000 words, as they say. Great. Okay.
So this is a photograph, a drone photograph of a plume of what we believe is sediment coming out of one of the pumping stations on the Route 35 project. And so the Route 35 reconstruction project is the largest infrastructure project happening post-Sandy at the shore. It included or had additional inclusion of 9 pumping stations for stormwater to comply with some federal regulations. Because of the speed,
Route 35 runs pretty much down the spine. Tell us for people who aren't familiar with the New Jersey
Shore.
Route
35 begins, the project begins in Bay Head, or at the head of the bay, a little town, the northern part of the Barrier Island, and runs down the Barrier Island all the way to Berkeley Township, or Seaside Park, if folks know, or the entrance of Island Beach State Park. It's a massive infrastructure project, which is to improve drainage and also pavement, public safety. There's a number of aspects to the project. Mm-hmm. But to qualify for some federal funds that were available post-Sandy, the project had to be able to withstand a 5-year storm event. In other words, the roadways would remain dry.
Okay.
So the engineering department and the DOT added 9 pumping stations to pump the stormwater directly in the bay. They did include in the design what are called MTDs, or manufactured treatment devices, which slow down the flow of the stormwater, allow sediment to distill or rest out of that stormwater, and then they need to be maintained. That soil would need to be removed. But in fact, what's happening here is the pumps that were supposed to be watertight seemingly are not, because most of them are running all of the time. 24 hours, 7 days a week, on and off. It's a mechanical device. So for example, in Seaside, sorry about that,
that's okay.
Front end loader. In Seaside Heights, the Eisenhower installation looks like Niagara Falls. It's pumping so much water. We're not talking about a trickle, we're talking about a lot of water.
So this water, they're only supposed to pump when there's a storm.
Right.
But they're pumping like crazy, so where's that water coming from? That's the obvious question.
We believe that it's groundwater infiltration, and we did run some tests this last week on Wednesday, which I don't have the results of yet. We've tested for nitrate, phosphorus, fecal coliform, salinity, mercury, and lead, because we're hoping to learn whether or not this is groundwater. Mm-hmm. And also, hopefully we learn there isn't contamination, but we suspect that there is. And so, in effect, we just installed 9 new point sources for pollution into Barnegat Bay.
Wow.
And because we didn't have an environmental impact statement, wasn't required, that the project happened post-Sandy, we feel that the state legislature needs to step in, really get a good report from the Department of Transportation and Department of Environmental Protection to ensure that the water that's getting pumped out is tested regularly and reported transparently to the public, and that there is maintenance online for these pumps.
And as you said, actually, it was interesting to see today in the legislative committees, almost all the members there were hearing this for the first time. They were unaware of it. And they were stressing that it's important to get this in front of the people who are responsible. But in subsequent testimony, we heard that the DOT and the DEP is on top of it, or at least is aware of it. Is that your understanding too?
Yes, they're aware of it. Unfortunately, grassroots organizations like ours often have to work with the government through OPRA requests, for example. And so that's not really an expedient process to get information. And typically, for example, the Ocean County Health Department would have the testing results of any beaches on their website, which is something used by a lot of the public. In this particular case, with the highway project, there's no required reporting. So, how do you learn whether the beach your children are swimming at, or the local yacht club, which is right next door to the pumping station, or the homeowners who have a dock with boats and kids, are really in the safe and in the right place, and that these things are being maintained properly?
Is the plume still there? Does it still look the same today?
Dissipated, and they did turn that pump off and put a boom around it to contain any other contaminants.
Okay, well obviously this is something your group's going to be following, and we'll try to follow it as well.
For sure, and we'd be glad to share the results of our water testing once we have it. We want to have a full, transparent discussion about this.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.